A fan favorite in Kansas City is starting to not only turn the corner every single postseason where he makes play after play, he is bringing that play into the regular season in 2025. We've seen him make splash plays. This one against the Baltimore Ravens really set everyone on notice and put them out there to see that he's going to have a great season in a contract year. Leo Chenal has been one of the best defensive players for the Kansas City Chiefs over the course of the first 6 weeks of the season. Today, we are getting into his tape against the Detroit Lions, how he was so impactful, what he can continue to do to get better and better and make this defense great. So, you guys, welcome in to RGR Football. My name is Daniel Harms, senior film analyst, and we are talking about that guy, Leo Chenal, one of my favorite players when he was drafted in the third round a few years ago at this point. And really, what he stands for. You know, Patrick Mahomes has described him as John Cena, those kind of things, the way he plays the game. It's just so much fun. And I love watching this guy play. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now, become a member here at RGR Football. And then hopefully I can earn a like from you guys as we dive into another film breakdown here. But first, let's talk about some stats because there are some really impressive things from him this season. Against the Detroit Lions, he did have 17 plays against the run. He had 7 tackles with 6 defensive stops, the most this season. So a defensive stop is where you allow 2 or fewer yards on a play. Or 3 or fewer yards, can't remember exactly, but it's basically a negative-ish play for the Lions offense in this sense, who is really good at running the football. And Leo Chenal was all over the place with 6 defensive stops. He also had a hustle play, again, where you go chase somebody down, 10 pass rushes. But the most important thing, I think what we're seeing right now is that the way they're using him. You know, he has taken 81 snaps at linebacker this year, but also 43 at defensive tackle. They've lined him up next to Chris Jones and in the A gaps, doing a lot more from that perspective, 43 times, and also 66 edge snaps this season. That's the kind of personnel situation you want to have with this guy who is all over the field. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the tape here. You've got Leo Chenal at that weak side linebacker. So Will linebacker here to the left of the offensive line, and he's always going to be trying to chase down the play, right? That's typically where he goes. Lions bring Amon-Ra St. Brown in motion. They run a play action play out of heavy, and you got Leo Chenal in pursuit. I wanted to start off with this play specifically because I think it's the most impressive thing that he did in coverage and pass, you know, in that situation, because you come out with these huge offensive lines, right? You got basically everybody up here, almost like 13 personnel. I think they've got extra. No, this is 13 personnel. I was right. You've got 3 tight ends, and they're going to run kind of a levels concept on this technically backside. They're also going to release Sam Laporta going to a deep corner route, and this motion is going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown to the flat. Then you got the play action off this way. So a lot of moving parts here for the Lions. And when you see that type of play, you have to be able to read and react. So initially what you see from Leo Chenal is that, yes, we have the run play. We are going to now get downhill quickly. I'm going to change the colors. Don't worry. I usually use blue. I forgot to change it for the Lions, but we're going to get back to that. But Leo Chenal does a great job stopping. Look at how quickly he decelerates twice on this play. He's going downhill quickly, okay? How is it he is able to stop with that right foot right there? He stops and he turns on a dime. He has the wherewithal to see that Amon-Ra St. Brown is scraping across the backside of the offensive line. He stops, locates the football, and then immediately gets on his horse to the flat. This is what you need to see from a guy. And then he stops and starts. We've seen him do this with the quarterbacks, with Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen. We've seen him be so uniquely gifted as a linebacker. The ability to stop, start, and then just go hustle at 250 plus pounds and then stop with the wide receiver is extremely impressive. So I really wanted to showcase his athletic ability in space, because what he's able to do in stopping, starting, rotating his hips, flipping out there, and getting to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the flat for a 1-yard gain on that play. Those are the kind of plays that define the kind of player that you are. Now, if George Karlaftis could change direction like that, we'd be talking about somebody that can do a lot more with just an effort standpoint, because the athletic ability also reflects that. For Leo Chenal, that's exactly what it does. And the Chiefs played a lot of base personnel in this game. The Lions played a lot of heavier personnel too because they had, Taylor Decker was out at left tackle. So they did a lot of different things with their offensive line. And when you bring in 12, 13 personnel, this is where the Lions want to be, right? They want to be a ground and pound type of team. But Leo Chenal, once again, does a fantastic job this time as more of an overhang um, Sam linebacker to the strong side. You're playing that Sam position now where you're going to take on double teams, you're going to take on blocks, you're close to the offensive line. Lions are trying to run the ball down the Chiefs' throat right here, but he's going to get across the face of the tight end and make Jahmyr Gibbs have to change direction. He wants to go play side. He wants to go towards those offensive linemen. This is also a pretty cool formational change from the Detroit Lions who come out, and then they're going to bring one of the tight ends around, and then they actually rotate Penny Sewell from right to left as well. Pretty cool formational change, but at the end of the day, it's more window dressing than anything, trying to get you to mess things up defensively. And they want to run this kind of like inside zone player or duo play. So you have a double team here on Derek Nottie. You've got a double team here on Chris Jones. And then you've got block, block, and block. They want, again, Jahmyr Gibbs to come out here, read, and be able to bounce. And this ideally you're trying to get him lined up on a safety in the middle of the field somewhere where he's able to make a guy miss. That's what the Lions want to do here. But again, because of the patience, you got players all mudded up here, and then you've got Leo Chenal just absolutely taking this gap away from Jahmyr Gibbs and forcing him to now press the line of scrimmage. Okay, we have a hole here. We're going to bounce. But Chamari Connor is going to do a really nice job of filling and making that tackle. He's not even in the screen yet. So here he comes on the outside. Mike Dana gets down. Unfortunately, Derek Nottie is getting spun around like he does on a lot of things. But you watch Leo Chenal get down into that gap, force the running back to have to come back around. Mike Dana is doing a good job of staying inside with that leverage. And you've got, again, Phil to the outside, stay inside here and force that running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, to have to pop this out here. And then you do get a one-on-one where Chamari Connor does a nice job of staying square and making himself where you can't go around. You have to go inside. You have to get that. So even though he didn't get a tackle on that play, he directly creates a result that the Chiefs are looking for in that regard. So here's Leo Chenal once again, this time more of that off ball taking on a block. Okay. This is a really fun play because, again, he's not initially involved in what's happening. We're showcasing the strength that he has. We're showcasing the power that he has. A lot of times you see linebackers get eaten up. Specifically, Nick Bolton gets eaten up by blocks all the time because he doesn't have the length. He doesn't have the power to extend when you get inside the chest. What Leo Chenal does here, coming downhill, eyes to the backfield, right? We know that he's very good at diagnosing, which we're going to showcase you quickly here in a little bit. But this is where you have to be able to take that inside arm and extend and hold up, right? Keep that outside arm free. So if the running back gets to your gap, you're able to tackle, but also locate, right? You want to extend and locate, eyes to the running back. And this is actually a really nice job by Derek Nottie and Nick Bolton in unison, which we're going to showcase right here. They brought heavy personnel out once again. They're running inside zone, and they're trying to get Jahmyr Gibbs time to be patient, read blocks, cut back, do what he does best. So short, weak side, inside zone, right? You got weak side play here. But this is what I liked about this play is because Derek Nottie is actually going to go this way. So he's going to get double teamed right here against the grain of the inside zone play. So this is what you're looking at here as the Detroit Lions, again, are running weak side. So you have two blockers out. And because Derek Nottie goes to the opposite, goes against the grain there, takes the attention of the center and gives Nick Bolton a free A gap to go into. Center falls off the block a little bit there. And then Leo Chenal does the rest because Nick Bolton, again, forcing Jahmyr Gibbs to bounce this outside. Chris Jones getting across the face of Dan Skipper there. These are the kind of plays that you have to see for the Chiefs, and that's why they've been so good against the run, is they're creating leverage advantages, against run plays. And this right here is where you're looking at Nick Bolton getting downhill, Chris Jones getting in the face, getting across the face right there of a block, backside pursuit. That's what you want to see from the Chiefs defense. And they did this all game long. But this right here, look at this. His hips are turned this way. He's got an arm in the chest of the guard. and he's just going to stop, lower those hips. He's going to sink and absorb the power and keep that extension on, get across that face, and then tackle Jahmyr Gibbs for a short gain on the play with pursuit from Nick Bolton. So anytime that you can take on a block, you see how he sinks his hips, right? How he's able to sink down and absorb power, but also displace power, right? He absorbs that power and he displaces it with his own so he can stay in the gap. That's taking on a block, and that's what we call stack. We're kind of like stacking. A lot of times when you see a stack block from a stacking from a linebacker, it's more stack and shed, right? You're trying to get to the side. This is more like a defensive end setting an edge. That's why he's so good and why he's so powerful in situations like this. So now, again, a little bit more of an overhang look, but he is so quickly reading what he's going to do. He's being aggressive. They're allowing him to play aggressively while Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil kind of sit back a little bit, just kind of reading the play out. They just let Leo Chenal attack exactly where Chris Jones is going. And again, guys, Chris Jones was hugely impactful in this football game. Multiple plays. This is another one. Really quick win, and it allows Leo to follow with Chris Jones. Unfortunately, that's the play he got hurt on because Leo was right behind him, able to get downhill. But when you're able to attack gaps and see things and process things as quickly right now as Leo Chenal is in the run game with these heavier personnel packages, he's just so explosive, and he beats blocks. He beats you to where you're supposed to be, and he gets downhill, man. This is the kind of impact play that we are seeing from Leo Chenal. And all about impact plays, guys. If you get in on the action with our new sponsor, ProfitX, you too can get some impact plays.
ProfitX, America's #1 sports prediction market, is a peer-to-peer sports prediction market where users play against each other instead of a sports book versus the house. You will almost always get the best price on any spread, money line, total, or player prop since you're playing against other people rather than the book. ProfitX offers dual currency system, either Profit Points or Profit Cash, and operates across 40 states. Use the promo code RGR and claim up to $200 in Profit Cash on all plays for the first 30 days playing on the site. ProfitX gives you the best lines in the space, and you can even set your own odds on specific wagers on your players, all at ProfitX. Go there and use the code RGR. Terms and conditions apply.
They always do. Those terms and conditions get you. Make sure you guys use that code over there at ProfitX and get in on the action, and then you can make yourself some money because it's always fun to do that while watching football, giving you some different things to look at from an investment standpoint. However, we want to see the Chiefs invest in Leo Chenal. How are they going to give him that contract? What's it going to look like? We don't really know because this is a unique situation that the Chiefs are in with Leo Chenal as that third linebacker that is better, I would say, than both the other linebackers that are starting for Kansas City, but it's a more of a niche position. But he is doing everything asked of him. He makes running backs work. He makes them work for yards. Jahmyr Gibbs finds his way out of this play for a 6-yard gain. But again, watch the diagnosis speed from Leo, who's going to do a nice job again of understanding what the Lions want. They want to just lead, right? They just want to lead this play right here. You're going to go block for me. Let's make that more of a block. Boom. And then we're going to lead with that. So I'm going to go here. Leo is like, fine, we're going to attack straight downhill and just muddy up this middle of the offensive line and getting on blocks, right? This is we're going to get to the end zone angle because this is the more impressive part about this play that I really appreciate from Leo is that what you see on this angle is not really what he does, right? It's not how he impacted it. You'd like to see him finish the tackle there. But watch how he makes life difficult for Gibbs. He's going to stop eyes right here in the backfield. Okay, where are you going? I've got eyes on Gibbs. Okay, and we're going to also use that right hand that we talked about with this, the putting power into the guard. He's going to do the same thing. Eyes on the running back. He's going to kind of like stack right here. You see how he's able to flow with the running back while he's keeping his arms over here, and he's moving with the running back. So he's constantly in flow of the run play. So there he is. Eyes don't leave the running back. He's going to kind of scrape across. But look, as he gets onto a different offensive lineman, he still locates where the running back is. And instead of going this way, he's coming back around. So Leo's going to stop his momentum. Again, get underneath here. He kind of gets rolled up on a little bit and then try to get a tackle there. But you see how he's able to read and react. His athleticism allows him to stop on a dime if he needs to, as we saw in that first clip, but his processing speed and eyes in the backfield and the running back allow him to change direction and stay with the flow while maintaining that leverage in different positions. Obviously, a great job by Gibbs to keep going and get 6 yards on this play, but we love to see that from Leo Chenal. You love to see what he's able to do in multiple different alignments, in attacks, how he's able to get downhill, but processing. This is why I think Leo Chenal is the best linebacker in Kansas City. It's not just his versatility, processing speed, guys. I think he's just as good of a processor as Nick Bolton is, as well as Drew Tranquil. I think he has gotten to that point in his career where he's seen a lot of it. His film study is fantastic. And especially when we know the Lions are coming out here in heavy personnel. This time they got 12 on the field, except one is a fullback, quote unquote. Should be Brock Wright in the backfield. They're going to run a little bit of a wind back or counter with pullers and movers and shakers, right? That's what they call them, the window dressing. Everything is designed to get your eyes moving one way to bring it back the other. They're going to pull GT, guard, and tackle on the backside to make it the front side. And then you get the counter from both the fullback and Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm sorry, center and guard. My apologies. But this is a really fun block from Penny Sewell, who's got to get down and condense. They're going to pull guard and center to get around. And this is kind of that wind back action where your fullback / tight end or halfback is going here, and he's going to wind back and kind of lead block out. So Leo, his eyes immediately, again, consistently processing what's happening. He's got eyes in the backfield. He widens a little bit, right? Just off to his left with the fullback in that motion, because again, you have to be able to protect against this. But then he's going to pursue, stops, and you see he's pointing to everyone behind him. Look, the play is going this way. We need to go that way. So he gets on his horse and he reads those blocks. He sees we got pullers out, so let's undercut the blocks, right? Boom. It's actually a little poor execution right there from the Lions. You're going to see the tight end just not take Leo Chenal. The guard, I believe, right here stops. His eyes go to Leo. Okay, I just gotta get eyes here, but he also knows that this tight end is supposed to kind of come across here and open this up. So he ends up going to Nick Bolton, where this should go here, boom, and then you should wind up here, boom, and this really should hit. It's what it should happen. So poor execution. And Leo consistently, again, pursue. I think he would have been just punishing Brock Wright anyway and into Jahmyr Gibbs, and Gibbs would have had to bounce this off and outside if he actually gets the block there. But you see how he widens and he just plays it safe. He has such a great feel for the linebacker position. He reads everything so well. He trusts his eyes, and then his athleticism on top of it just makes everything so much better. And I love what they do with Leo Chenal. They played a lot more base personnel on defense against the Lions, matching what the Lions are bringing out. But even when he was on the field in unheavy personnel, like, he's just such a unique athlete. They had him drop into coverage at times, and it feels like what they do a lot of times. I'm just going to show you here. Like, if he's getting out here, he has to physically turn and run, which happens a lot with Spags in the way he wants to bring maybe sometimes a defensive end off, but you have to turn and run, and it doesn't give you the best position because then you have to get your head back around to the quarterback. Dropping into a zone, I think he's excellent. I think Nick Bolton has got better at just pure dropping into zone. But when you see them have to take different angles, they do get exposed a little bit in coverage. Leo Chenal only allowed 2 catches for 12 yards on Monday, on Sunday night against the Lions. And then you have something like this. Like, this is, again, athleticism, footwork, leverage, keeping your hips underneath you, reading blocks. All of this happens within a couple of seconds. But again, watch what he does. Okay, we've got motion to outside zone. So they're going to end up motioning Sam Laporta out, who's kind of a lead blocker here. And then everybody else, we've got outside zone. All right, we want to get David Montgomery to the outside. No big deal. So we're going to shift a little bit with that motion. Downhill first, all right? We read downhill first with Leo, and then he gets out in front of Dan Skipper. And when we get to the end zone here in a second, I'm going to show you why, again, this is so impressive. It's because of the way he processes not just the block, but the angle of the running back, okay? So we go downhill first, okay? Right here. For Leo Chenal and Jerry Tillery, right here, this is where he is. He's on a block. All right, fine. So for Leo, I got 2 responsibilities here. I'm going to keep eyes on the trajectory of the running back. A little bit of a toss outside zone action. Whoops, sorry guys. And then he goes outside. If you watch the angle of the running back, his shoulders are going to start to open up just a touch, right? So he's trying to play this as vertical as he can a little bit here to attack this gap to bring Leo in, but he's already processed the angle at which David Montgomery is going to go. So that's where the eyes go to Dan Skipper, see that he's right there. Okay, fine. I need to get outside. I know Nick Bolton is backside pursuit right here. George Karlaftis is going inside. I'm going to go around this play and make a tackle. Matching the eyes with your lower half, your hips, and your ability to move in space. Again, he doesn't just attack downhill. It's how he shuffles his feet, right? He keeps himself square so he can change direction. He keeps those hips under him, his feet under him, right? He's not out over his skis. He processes with his eyes, and he's able to just kind of move sideline to sideline with those hips and just get underneath blocks. So everything in this game, from run defense perspective, from the different ways that they use him in the pass rush, which we're going to talk about right here in a second, he's not the most effective pass rusher, guys. That's just what he's not. He's not a defensive end. However, they use him in a lot of unique ways, and I think this is maybe the most important way that they will use him in the future on stunts. Right now, stunting in the NFL is not just back, it's huge. It's a big way to create problems, and this ends up being a short completion for a first down for the Lions. But what I like about this is that Leo Chenal lines up at defensive tackle. He'll line up in the A-gaps, line him up in here on the outside, and it's simple. You're going to crush inside, which he does extreme well. We're going to loop around. I'm not saying Charles Omenihu has been playing fantastic football for the Chiefs this season. However, lately, I think that his best snaps have come in obvious passing situations where he's reduced inside. Either he's over the center or he's in a gap, and he's able to kind of do a little bit more with his athleticism. But again, crashing down from Leo Chenal into a B gap and allowing guys to loop around is probably going to be his best trait, right? Look how he's able to keep himself upright. He's just trying to collapse the pocket. The Chiefs just want him to do that. And then you can loop Chris Jones around. You can loop Charles Omenihu around, Ashton Gelati, George Karlaftis. So there's a lot of different things I think they can do with him in that regard. But this is a completely different type of player that we're seeing for Kansas City in Leo Chenal. With how he's impacted the run defense for Kansas City, they have a top-tier run defense, and they only allowed, I believe, it's like 6 yards in the second half from the Lions in the run game. They were just, and part of that is game script. They forced the Lions to throw the football a lot to try to come from behind. So all in all, this was a total complete effort from Leo Chenal. With as many times as he's on the field in base, it gives them an advantage against the run. I still think he's going to be just fine as a coverage player. We've seen him carry Mark Andrews down the field, so there's more trust in him to be out there if teams are going to run play action, if they're going to run passes. But this version of Leo Chenal should take over the Drew Tranquil role next season and be one of the bigger impact players on this defense. He's consistently in good position week in and week out making plays for this defense. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown, because he is not just an ascending player, he's an emerging top talent at the linebacker position in the NFL. And I hope people start to take notice, because it's not just in Kansas City that he's being seen, it's everywhere. So more people pay attention to it, they'll see it. Contract year, as our late great friend Torres Paler said, is undefeated, especially here with Leo Chenal. So you guys, we have more content coming for you throughout the week. We will have game plan for you on Friday before Chiefs versus Raiders on Sunday at a 1 o'clock time Eastern time, so I don't have to stay up all that late. You guys have yourselves a great rest of your day. If you are not a member here at Rogue Nation, please hit that sub button right now. Hit a like on the way out. We can get out there more to Chiefs fans and everywhere else in Chiefs Kingdom. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.